Hello everyone, Lee again here from Next Level Awareness, and in this video I want to talk about the non-dualistic way of thinking and how you eventually adapt to that with your spiritual awakenings, etc. And what it's like living in a non-dualistic way of thinking, which is something I'm working on at the moment. I'm not fully there because I still do think dualistically sometimes. I think some things are good that happen to us and I think some things are bad. I still think there's bad things in the world happening, but I'm starting to now realise that whatever's happening in the world, whatever it is, whether you think it's good or bad, it's both, okay? It's good and bad. Now some people, when I tell them this, they might say something like, well, Lee, what's bad about a plane going down with hundreds of people on and they all losing their lives? Well, I'll tell you what's good about that. The good thing about that is you will appreciate your life more knowing that you were not on that plane. You see, this is how deep it goes. Now, as we grow up, we in this dualistic way of thinking because that's the way we brought up. We're brought up to think some things are bad, some things are good, but in reality, everything that's bad also has a good side to it, and everything that's good also has a bad side to it. Everything's like 50-50. And as you transcend up the levels of awareness, you'll start to realize this, guys. You'll start to really see the good in all bad, because you have to remember that if we think of something as good, okay, and think of something as bad, that thing we think of as bad is always going to come back and bite us in the arse all the time, and it's going to persist until we kind of merge the two. And when we merge the two, we'll realize that everything serves double duty. There's a good and a bad in everything, you see. And this is the non-dualistic way of thinking. This is where everybody will eventually end up in the spiritual journey. But the issue with this is when you reach this stage and you go out and you look at people, you see they're in a dualistic state, okay? You see they're very unhappy about things. You see they're trying to get something. You see they're arguing with the partners. You see all these things and it really brings you down. But what you have to remember is that you were once this person, you see. So humanity is all one as a whole, and it is all a journey, okay? And this journey is all happening simultaneously. That's why we're still seeing it, you see. Even though we're in a non-dualistic way of thinking, we still see the dualistic way of thinking because that's happening simultaneously. And everything's happening simultaneously, okay? There is no past or future. That's just an illusion. Time is an illusion. Time is just the law of cause and effect within the one and the all that's all happening simultaneously, you see. Our consciousness is just flicking through different frequencies of timelines that are all happening simultaneously, you see. That's why when you're a child and all these things that happen to you when you're a child are linked to now, okay? You'll see things now, you'll go out and you'll start to do something in your life and you'll realize, oh, this is what I saw when I was a child, but I didn't do it then, but I'm doing it now. Because that's linked, you see, it's all linked, because that was just a different version of you and a different version of your interpretation of what you're doing back then compared to the current timeline of what you're doing now, but it's exactly the same thing, you're just seeing it from a different angle. So it's as if all consciousness, every single thing that's happening is happening simultaneously. All of the people are you, but they're just all looking at it from a different angle, like as if the all mirrors reflecting off each other. But as you know, the speed of light is very, very fast, but the way these reflect is faster than the speed of light, okay? This is why energy, this is why the scientists are finding out now with quantum physics, the quantum entanglement is instantaneously, okay? It's instantaneous because it's all a reflection, all happening simultaneously, you see. And all we're doing is seeing everything from new angles as we progress up this. And speaking of this, I mean, we are everyone, okay? Like I lost my mother 9 years ago, and this was a very, very negative thing in my life. I really suffered very badly because of it. But a few years on, I realized my mother is in me. You see, my mother is in me because I am her spirit as well. So every time I would eat something that she used to enjoy eating, I would feel her in me, enjoying it with me. So this was a realization I had where I realized that my mother is still there, she's just on a different timeline, and I've now progressed from that timeline to this timeline on my spiritual journey. So this is how we are, everybody, you see. So when you see people out there in a dualistic state of being, doing things that you used to do, you just have to remember that that is you as well, just on a different timeline, because all consciousness is all one, and we're all doing the same things, we all feel the same, we all have the same thoughts, emotions, etc. We're just all on different stages of our spiritual journey. So I just wanted to quickly mention that in this video, guys. And when you reach the non-dualistic state of being, everything becomes a lot easier, you see, because if something bad happens to you, you don't just instantly think, oh, this is terrible, and go in a bad mood, etc. Because you realize that this is happening for a specific reason, because it's going to take you somewhere which is going to be more beneficial for your spiritual growth, you see. So everything is love. Whatever happens is love, because even if it's bad at the time, okay, it's going to take you somewhere that's better eventually, because you're going to learn from these bad lessons. And eventually you'll get to a point where you'll no longer affect other people in a negative way, okay, which causes the karma, you see. And this is known as what I class as harmlessness. You'll be able to live your life in a way that's harmless to anybody else. And then these bad things stop coming to you, because there's no more karma, you see. You're not creating that cause and effect that's making all these bad things come to you that you see other people doing, you see. And I don't know if you can teach this, guys. I really don't know. I've spoke to people who are, a lot of things bad happen in their lives. I've tried to tell them about the law of karma, and what they give out they get back, because everything's a reflection of you. And sometimes it just doesn't sink in, you see, because sometimes the only way to learn this is via the bad experiences, you see. Sometimes that's the only way you can learn this. So sometimes you've got to just sit back, enjoy the present moment, realize everything's all happening simultaneously, allow people to be on the spiritual journey, advise them, guide them through the hard times they're going through. But ultimately, if they're not ready to listen, you've just got to let them learn in their own time, and then eventually they'll get onto the same level of awareness you're on, and they'll understand what you understand. This is happening all over, because consciousness is all one. And yeah, so when you're in a non-dualistic state of being or thinking, everything's easier, because you're not getting all these bad things happening to you anymore, and you can just sit back and enjoy life. Okay, put yourself in the present moment. And like I said in the previous video, the present moment contains love, because love is everything. You say love is everything, because love is what creates joy and happiness. Everything else is somebody trying to escape from that love. Okay, all negative in the world is leading to love eventually, because as we learn, we get more and more loving, but it's all happening for love anyway. So the only direction is love. Everything's centered. The duality is just a game. Okay, it's a game of to and fro until we eventually center ourselves into love, and that's the non-dualistic state of being. And some people refer to this as enlightenment, whatever. I'm just telling you my experience of it, guys, and I'm not even there yet, okay, because I still think some things bad. Sometimes I don't like the way governments treat us, etc. But then when I really sit down and think about it, I kind of come to terms with it, because I realise that governments are here to control some people, because some people do need controlling. Because if they weren't controlled, there would be chaos, and the world wouldn't be such a good place. So sometimes we do need that control. Sometimes I just don't like the way they take away our free will. But there's a good side of this as well, you see, because you don't have to abide by anybody when you reach the state, because everything you do it with common sense. You do it with a sense of knowing that what you're doing is the right thing. So you no longer need anybody to tell you what to do, but you still see it through glass, okay, because they're on another timeline, but it's all happening simultaneously, guys. So that's it for this video. It's coming up to 10 minutes now. Sorry for that little rant, but I hope you guys understand that. And if there's anybody got any comments to help others going through this, please leave a comment. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Also subscribe to my TikTok, which is Next Level Awareness as well. And see you guys in the next video. Thanks for joining us today. Have a nice day.